Hey everyone, welcome back to another ranking video. This time, I will be going through the killer pickup and dropping animations. Now, we will be doing this just a little bit differently. Because I'm going to be ranking both at the same time, I'm not going to do what I normally do with counting down from what I think is the worst up to the best. Because if one killer's pickup is really good, but the same killer's drop is really bad, then that would be really unfair to rank, I think. Instead, as you may have seen from the title, we will be doing a tier list. Also, we will be doing the killer pickup and drop animations, of course, from third person, so we can actually see the animations to their fullest. I will be showing the pickup and drop repeatedly, and then I will show the tier list and place them where I think is best. If there are any changes that I make towards the end, I will mention them, and I will show the final tier list at the end of the video, like always. We will be going through all 40 killers, including Springtrap, and of course we will start off with Trapper, and then we will go in order from him. Also, the angles at which you can see everything about the killer does get better. I promise. I apologize if the camera angle is a little funky at some parts. Also, I'm taking out the D tier because for this, there are a lot of animations that are the same, but I don't think any animation deserves a D tier for this one specifically. I don't think any of these animations deserve anything less than a C. But without further ado, let's get right into this, everybody. Starting off with Trapper, of course, the OG. For this animation, he does a simple and plain pickup and then drops the survivor to the floor. It's very simple animation, but because of this and that he's the OG, I won't give him C tier, but I will give him a nice and solid B tier for this. Wraith has the exact same animation as Trapper, and a lot of these earlier animations will have the same animation, just because they were back when Behavior didn't have too much to work with, so you can't really blame him. I do have to give a quick shout out though to Wraith's chicken legs here, because they look really funny when he's standing there, but C tier for Wraith. Hillbilly also has the same exact animation, but I do have to give a quick shout out to the fact that Hillbilly at least doesn't have chicken legs, so he'll go C tier but above Wraith just for that fact alone. Nurse is the first one on this list so far that has a little bit more going on with her animation. While the others before were a lot more confident, I think Nurse is a lot more loose with everything that she does, and picks them up a little differently than the rest. It's not too much of a change, but it is worthy to be at least top of B tier for me. Myers also has the same animation as Trapper, but there's something about this animation being on Myers specifically that I actually appreciate more than it being on Wraith and Hillbilly. It makes sense for him to grab the survivors like this, and the stare down that he does at my camera is very creepy. But because it's the same, I'm gonna have to give him C tier, although I am putting him at the top of C tier. Hag actually does a lot more than what I originally thought she would do. When she tosses the survivor down, she also goes down with them, which I actually really like about this character. The way she looks like she has quite a bit of trouble trying to pick them up is also a really nice touch, since I'm sure if I weighed like 40 or 50 pounds like Hag does, I would also have trouble trying to pick up a fully grown healthy human. Because of how much there is to her, and because she's actually a really early character, I'm gonna give this an A tier. Doctor has the exact same animation as the others, and there is nothing too unique about this, so I'll just have to give him a C tier. Huntress is next, and also is the same animation as before. If you're starting to see a pattern, then you are correct, since we've got quite a lot of killers that have this same animation. C tier as well for her. Bubba, who just like the others has the same animation as well, but it's Bubba, and I think it's funny how the chainsaw just magically appears back in his hand, but unfortunately he's gonna go C tier. Freddy also has the same animation here, but the height difference is really funny to me, and I never realized how funny it looked while being carried, just because of how short he is. But no matter what, this stuff has to go C tier, unfortunately. Pig kinda has a lot more, but only with her right arm where the hidden blade is. Because she walks and carries it behind her, the way she drops and picks up the survivor is different as well. But because it is basically the exact same animation, I'll put her in C tier, but I'm gonna put her at the top just because of it slightly being different. Clown also has the exact same animation, but I can't mention these animations and not mention and give him extra points for the jiggle physics that the devs went out of their way to make for him. It doesn't give him a lot of points, but enough to put him near the top of C tier at least, for him being just a little unique. Spirit, while having the same animation, is very unique, mainly because of her default stance. They had to modify this animation to make it look a little different. With all of her floating limbs, it actually does look really cool. Does it make sense? No. But it's DBD, so when does it ever? Very top of C tier, I think. Legion has the same toss and pickup as well, but the toss and the head looking down looks a little different to me, and a little more menacing if I'm honest. And don't worry guys, I know a lot of these seem like the same, but here really soon, there basically won't be any more C tiers. And speaking of that, Legion is going to have to go C tier unfortunately as well. Plague has a unique animation if you really look into it. When she throws a survivor, she doesn't look as long at them. And when she picks them up, she looks a lot more elegant while doing it, and looks like she's being a lot more careful than the rest of killers. Because both of these animations are just slightly different, I'll give her the bottom a B tier. Ghostface seems a lot more sassy while dropping the survivor. He's got the same pickup as the rest, but he has to get extra points for not caring at all about dropping the survivor, and with the sassy arm movement. Near the top of C that he goes. Demo is our first killer who actually has a lot going on here. All the different mouth movements, especially his hissing and roaring at the survivor that he just dropped, is really cool and a very scary fact. I love that when he picks the survivor up, he gets on all fours to do it, and then slowly gets taller as he picks them up. This animation is really cool, and for it being so unique pretty early on, this is going S tier for sure. It may be moved later, but we'll see how I feel. Oni is next, and while having kind of the same pickup, his drop is very unique. The arm movement and the katana movement through both animations is really clean, and I love that they did this with him. The pickup also looks really good here too. Top of B tier, I think. Deathslinger's animations are the same as they have been, but I believe that they had to do something different with both. If you really look, Deathslinger has a leg brace, so they made his left leg way more stiff than all the rest of the killers here. And I really like that they did this with him. It adds a lot more character to him, but because it is the same pickup and drop, he is going C, but top of C for sure. Pyramid Head has the exact same drop as the others, but the pickup looks weird here, but in a good way. The giant cone on his head makes the tilt of his head look better to me at least. Because of this small touch, I'm gonna give him near the top of C tier. We are halfway through, and thank you guys for making it this long. I know a lot of the killers before had the same animation to them, but now we get into the more recent killers that have way more to them. I promise. But thank you for suffering through this with me. Both of Blight's animations have something different about them. The pickup is a lot more of a straight line, if that makes sense, and then as you can see, the drop is very unique with the fact that he hits the floor with his cane before going into the default stance, which looks really good. For two more unique animations, I'm gonna put this at least A tier. Twin's drop is unique, but the pickup is the exact same. She swings her right arm way more when she drops than the other killers before, and I actually really like this fact about her. I'll give her a solid B tier for this, I think. Trister has the same pickup, but I have to give him extra points for the absolute sass and complete disgust that he has when he drops a survivor. He looks at them like he's so much better than they ever will be, and this animation says a lot about his character, and for that, I'm gonna have to put him A tier just because of how much this speaks of his personality. Nemesis is the first killer so far that has a completely different way to carry the survivor. Instead of flexing like all the rest, he carries them underneath in a reverse flexing way, and then drops them with so much disrespect. And the fact that he's too tall to be fully on my screen is really funny, and because of all this, I'm gonna have to give him an S tier for sure. Pinhead was the first killer to use his power to pick up the survivor, and this animation looks so cool, and even the drop is unique with him being a lot more floaty and loose like Nurse. But the pickup with the chains is really cool to look at, and I love how it follows the same formula as the others, but does it in a more unique way. This is an easy S tier for sure. Artist has a unique drop and something different about her pickup. The way she grabs a survivor originally looks different than the other killers because of her ink hands are so spread when grabbing their back, and she gets really low when she drops survivors and looks at them pretty heavily. I like this simplistic change. A solid A tier for sure. Onryo was again blowing us all away with these amazing animations. Do I even need to say where she's going on the tier list? One of two killers to never even touch the survivor of course has to have this amazing animation of her basically choking out the survivor for them to just float there, and the way when she's picking up the survivor she flicks her shoulder up is a really cool touch, and the drop with her moving to the side a bit from the survivor is really interesting to me. And of course the sound design here is just amazing. Of course Onryo has to go at the top of S, just where she belongs. Dredge's drop animation is really unsettling with how intensely he stares at the survivor going down, and the pickup is no better, with the hands coming out of the darkness to put the survivor underneath Dredge's fleshy arm is really creepy, and I never realized just how good this was until just now. All this combined 100% deserves an S tier, no doubt about it. Wesker is just slightly disappointing with him not having anything really unique like the others, But that definitely fits his character though. He doesn't need anything over the top, although the fact that when he drops a survivor, he doesn't even look down at them speaks so much to him. He really just doesn't care about them at all, and his Chad face while the survivor is going down is super funny to me. He puts a lot of effort into the pickup as well. Even though he didn't have too much going for him, I'm still going to put him at the top of B tier. Knight, in my opinion, with these animations is a better version of Oni's, where the movement of the weapon speaks wonders here. The flipping of the sword when picking up is really smooth and well done, but with him stabbing the weapon into the ground to pick it up back onto his shoulders is a really cool touch, and I love this animation a lot. Top of A tier, 100%. Skull Merchant has the same animation in the C tiers, but she has a little bit more uniqueness with it. She looks a lot more with her head, and because of the limitation of her right arm, she can't really move it as much, so it's a lot more stiff when picking up. Because it's kind of the same animation, I'm going to put her at the top of B, just because it's not exactly the same. She does have a little bit more going on. Just a little spoiler warning now. From now on, all the rest of the killers will be in at least A tier or higher, since these are the more recent killers in the roster, and behavior has a lot more to work with than they did back then. So these animations are of course going to look so much better than all the rest. With that being said, let's get started with Singularity. Singularity's drop and pickup are both very unique, in yet another different way, and if I'm not mistaken, the only killer to actually carry a survivor like this. He has no struggle picking them up and only readjusts them with his liking, just to drop the survivor like they're a prize in a crane game. I love this animation, and it speaks a lot about how much he just hates humanity. Easy S tier for sure. Alien drops a survivor like they're a piece of garbage and actually throws them on the floor just to pick them up by the throat is super menacing, and the first killer to do this, and I love this animation a lot, although I think it would be cool if Alien held the survivor up with their tail, but no matter what, this animation deserves an S tier 100%. Chucky has two incredibly unique animations where he spawns his ghost instead of somehow picking them up himself, and when you drop, you can see Chucky prepping himself before falling down on top of the survivor. The fact the ghost spawns so perfectly, and when you're playing Chucky, the transition between third person into first is probably the most clean thing ever in this game. This is probably the easiest S tier since Onryo for sure. Unknown picks the survivor up like Nemesis and has kind of a similar drop to Dredge, where he looks intensely at the survivor, but Unknown's look towards the survivor is incredibly creepy because he keeps an eye on them basically the entire time. He's a mix of different and unique animations, so I think he's top of A for sure to me. Vecna has a lot going on here too. He throws the survivor on the ground even harder than any other killer so far, and his pickup is incredibly smooth and has a lot of special effects to it, and the fact he spawns another hand that isn't his own to grab the survivor is super disrespectful, like he doesn't even want to touch the survivor at all, and the smoothness to these animations is really good. I think this has to go top of S just out of principle. Dracula drops a survivor like he wants absolutely nothing to do with them, and I love how he gets really low to grab them by the throat himself just to carry them around. The disrespect and hate he has for humans is definitely shown here with both animations, basically showing how he doesn't care at all for them. I think this has to go S, just because of how disrespectful he is about it. Houndmaster is kind of like Unknown's, where it's almost exactly the same as his, but she seems to drop the survivor even harder to the ground than even Vecna, which just hurts my face to see it. I think this is really cool though, and definitely speaks to her character. I'm putting her an A below Unknown, but honestly, these two are both tied for me, and personally, I can't really decide which one is better. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Ghoul drops the survivor so low to the ground that he's basically just forcing their face into the ground, and I love how the Kagune wraps around the survivor's neck and then drags them really high to carry them, and I just love how smooth all of his animations are. I'm pretty sure this is S tier. Springtrap has a very unique drop and pickup as well. Even though it's the same pickup as Dracula's kind of, he doesn't bend over nearly as much, probably because he really can't. I love the constant eye contact that he has when he picks them up, and speaking of eye contact, when he drops them, he keeps his eyes on the survivor the entire time. And I love that you can see his white pupils staring at them the whole time down. And at least when it came to Vecna and Ghoul, they dropped the survivors decently close to the ground, but Springtrap does not care and lets them go from up at his height, which adds points to just how disrespectful he is to them. I think this is worthy of an S tier. So after recording everything, I moved some stuff around, so this is my final tier list of what I personally think the best killer pickup and dropping survivor animations are. You guys let me know if you would change anything, and if you have any ideas, leave them down below, and I'll read and respond to every comment, like I always try to do. If you enjoyed this, I hope this video made you consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps me out a bunch and lets me know that I'm doing something right at least. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a wonderful rest of your day or night, and take care everybody.